Hey guys, Rascal here, and welcome to another Rascal Reviews. This time reviewing the classic series Teen Titans from 2003. And remember how Teen Titans go? I'll probably cover the movies. That's about it. So, you know ahead of time. So, I really wanted to cover this show lately because Teen Titans Go, yes, I have to bring it up, has been going on for almost a decade now. We're almost up to 10 seasons of the show. It's had 3 movies, unnecessary amount of crossovers, and somehow it's still going. Cartoon Network refuses to get rid of it. So the ones who love it, great, and the ones who don't, gotta suffer some more. And each time, there were times in the show they kept saying, well, the '03 wasn't good, what we know was a lie. And they kept making the argument that the 2003 Titans was boring. Really boring. It's sleep inducing. They don't know how people sat and watched 5 seasons because there was no comedy, even though there was comedy episodes all throughout the show. It was too boring, too much action. They wanted just to be all humor and be silly like they made their version now. But instead of just not watching it, they just drag every other fan through the mud with it. And for me, it's just like, well, just go watch something else. And at one point, I did rewatch the whole series of Mama Entertainments, and it still holds up. It's still one of the best superhero shows ever made, and one of the best series ever made. It's so popular that we're almost, next year will be at 10 years since, well, I'm sorry, not 10 years, it'll actually be 20 years since the first since the original Teen Titans series came out. And it's still being used, it's still being referenced, no matter what version of the Titans you have now. Your mind always goes back to 2003 Titans, which you had Robin with Dick Grayson, Cyborg, Raven, Starfire, and Beast Boy. And everyone still remembers that. Everyone still wants to use that. They still want to reference it. For so many people now, this is Teen Titans. And I know that there were different ones in the comics when they had the 60s. And all throughout the comics run and the reboots and everything. And even with the DC animated movies, they have had different Titans on their team. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's just that the '03 was so well done. It was so impactful. It was so fantastic that this is Teen Titans. Now when you have other ones on there, it doesn't fit. It doesn't, your mind can't process that. Now you're used to having these 5 characters as the Teen Titans. And it's incredible how the show's been gone off this long with 5 seasons in a movie, and it ended too soon on a cliffhanger that didn't resolve anything. And it's still making an impact on people. Even when people make new comics and things, the inspiration or the callback to is always the Teen Titans show. So that tells you how much of an impact it made on all these people. And then you have, oh wow, sorry, it's just a lot to unpack with this. Then you have like the characters themselves. All of them are very well written. Everyone went through a sort of character arc every season, which was actually a great idea. The designs actually were still recognizable and are actually still used now in different versions. The episodes were well made. They actually had some pretty interesting concepts and lessons and morals, especially the really famous one for Troc with tackling racism. All of these episodes of Teen Titans have really made an impact on people. Even when they were just the comedy ones, they still were really hitting hard with action, with comedy, with jokes, with satire, with call-outs. And the key point in Teen Titans, for me, I think, is teamwork. And I say that because there are a lot of times in this show where a Titan gets separated from the others. And it doesn't matter if it's someone had taken them captive, they ran away, they got lost, they're defeating and recovering, or something. And whenever that, not all 5 of them were there, they couldn't beat the villain, no matter how big or small it was. They needed everybody there. There would always be the villain would win, or they couldn't make him stay down that long. And then the minute that missing teammate came back, it was suddenly hard hitting. They were suddenly kicking their butts. They were suddenly undefeatable. And I think it was really showing that all of them were important, no matter who they took out. No matter it was Robin or Beast Boy or Raven or Cyborg or Starfire. If one character was missing, they couldn't do it. And the minute they came back, they were in the game again and they saved the day. And it really showed how much teamwork really went into this team. Everyone needed to be present to save the day. It couldn't just be one person does it, or this half does it but not this half. Everyone was important to the team, and all the team members were important to each other, even if they didn't act like it sometimes. They kind of became their own little family. And it seemed like for Teen Titans, it was way more character driven. They had some really great stories, really great arcs, especially when they had Season 4 fighting Raven's father, Season 3 dealing with the Titans East, Season 2 having Terra, Season 1 of course Slay, Season 5 with the Brotherhood of Evil, and the Trouble in Tokyo movie, which was still a fantastic film. And it really showed the importance of teamwork with that. I think that's the biggest takeaway from the entire thing. It is really character driven more than story driven, because it's something different every episode. It didn't really have much of an arc until it got towards the end, and then they would kind of go back and forth between it. And it's rare that a character-driven show it gets that popular, because most people want complexity and stories and arcs and everything, which you don't need all the time, but it is nice when you have it. And Teen Titans had all of that, but it was different for a superhero show to be character-driven and growth-driven rather than story-driven or fan-driven or comedy-driven. And that's kind of what's missing from Teen Titans Go. Now, I'm sure people love this show, and they like how it is, and they don't want all that stuff. They even said themselves they're not going to have stories and arcs and seriousness, because if they do it, they're going to mess up their own show, even though it's already messed up already. And they don't want to do it. They're too good for it. So, okay, they can run what they want. It's their show. No harm, no foul. But for the 03 Titans, it is a fantastic show. It's still one of my favorite shows ever. My favorite superhero shows ever, and one of my favorite DC shows ever. It goes on a lot of favorite type lists. And I know lots of people have seen this. Almost everybody I know has seen the original Teen Titans. There are some, it's like when I've seen people that just about everybody I talk to has seen Avatar: The Last Airbender. There is rarely a person I can run into online or offline that hasn't seen Avatar or that hasn't seen Teen Titans. It's too well known, too well beloved. And another thing that sticks out about it is that when they had their episodes, they did feel like they were little comic book stories. They did have some comics later just called Teen Titans Go, and ironically, it was before they had the Teen Titans Go reboot, so go figure. And they even had one called Teen Tiny Titans, I think. I think it was like a little DC Shorts where it was done in a chibi style, but it was still the same voice actors, and they were trying to tie up loose ends from the series, but done in a comedic way. That one was a much preferable Teen Titans Go than the thing we got now, at least to me. And with that, there are a lot of things still unanswered about Teen Titans, like who was really Red X? He actually reminded me a lot of Red from Motor City. What else was going on with the Brotherhood of Evil? What happened with Terra? Did she really come back? Or was she her mind wiped? Did she really forget if it was her? Did she pretend it wasn't her? Or pretend to be mind wiped so that way she could just live her own life? Was someone that looked just like her? It was, once again, hard to tell. And they decided to end it on a fade to black instead of actually giving us an answer. But hey, still waiting for that 6th season anyway. And they have some really creative and awesome ideas, along with some fantastic animation when they were going for the anime-esque style. But it wasn't done just trying to look like anime. It was done to be a really quirky looking style. And when they got serious, they left out all that. It went from being the jokey, kooky anime when it was a comedy, then went to being a hardcore action anime when the time came for the story to get serious. And they really did find that balance with action, comedy, drama, story, character, and complexity. There's a lot of parts that go into a great show, and Teen Titans did it well. So well that we as fans cannot accept any other version of this show or this team. And I think that says a lot about the writing and the legacy of Teen Titans. Now, I don't think I had a favorite season because all the seasons were really good to me. I know season 5 wasn't considered really good, but I enjoyed it. I did like seeing all the new Titans and superheroes they had towards the end trying to expand their Titans roster. I thought that was pretty cool. And it's still going to be one of my favorite shows, and it's definitely a shining example of what a superhero show should be. Not just for DC and Marvel, but just in general of what you can and could write in your own stories. And it too could be just as legendary as Teen Titans. And that's what I pretty much have to say about the show in general. We covered each season and its movie on Paul's Animation, so if you want to see those, you can go to our Paul's Animation channel, type in Teen Titans, and then boom, it'll pop up. Now, you most likely have seen Teen Titans, so if you have, please tell me what you thought of in the comments below. What did it mean to you? Did it have a huge impact on you in your childhood? Because it certainly did for me. If you happen to not like Teen Titans, which would be a shock, and you actually prefer Teen Titans Go or something else, tell me why in the comments. And did it not work for you? Or was there something missing for you that didn't have in the reboot? Please let me know in the comments. And what does Teen Titans mean to you? How much does this show impact you or inspired you in your life, whether you saw it as a kid or years later as an adult? And I really appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you everybody next time. Later.